AkronHipHop.com, the ReporterNewspaperOnline.com. Hey, Tara, guess what?
What?
When I say the ReporterNewspaperOnline.com, do you understand what I'm really saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
The Reporter newspaper is online.
Absolutely.
A lot of people don't realize that.
I do.
See that? They've been in the area for years.
Right.
They're transcending the boundaries of the digital divide.
Right.
So listen, man, tell everybody who you are who don't know.
I am Councilwoman Tara Mosley Samples, representing the mighty Ward 5 for the city of Akron.
Tara, you've been doing a lot of things. You in the middle of the street graffitiing on concrete and stuff.
Legal graffiti.
Legal graffiti. You're doing the art. You're doing your thing. You called me down and said, hey, be there. I said, well, I got to be there when she called me. And you're doing some great things. What got you into politics?
You know what? It's what I've always wanted to do. I can't really say what pinpointed me in that direction. I've always wanted to be an elected official. Didn't know in what capacity. I used to say I wanted to be the President of the United States. I never thought that was possible until this dude got there, and anything's possible at this point.
This dude, 45.
I call him Mr. 1600. That's it.
Okay.
That's all he is.
All right.
That's it.
Anything is possible.
Anything's possible at this point. And so I just wanted to be in a position where I could make a difference and change some things that I felt needed to be changed. Being someone who grew up in the neighborhood, from the neighborhood, I always just felt like the neighborhood has always been forgotten about, and I wanted to be an advocate for change in the neighborhood.
Okay, since we're talking about change in the neighborhood and we're talking about you being an advocate for change and everything, there's a couple of things that you wanted to talk about today. And let's just talk about that one thing, right? One, gun violence.
Yes.
That is a good thing to want to change.
Absolutely.
Are people wilding right now?
I mean, it's concerning. We've had 30 shootings here in the city of Akron this year alone. Last year, for the whole year, we had 34. So right now, we are slated to have more than we had all of last year before we even make it out of the summer, unfortunately. And it's very concerning to me. I'm not a gun person. I don't like guns. My dad is a veteran, and I never once saw a gun in our house. Were they there? I'm sure they were. My dad's a veteran, but we never saw them. But now these guns are getting in the hands of our babies. Our kids are out here like it's a video game. They're shooting each other as if the person's gonna pop back up alive and you're gonna start all over with a whole new round of pellets. They're killing each other without any rhyme, reason, or remorse, and that's concerning.
So they've been desensitized too, right?
Yes,
absolutely. What
absolutely.
makes you think, let's go into this a little bit. What makes you think that our children is doing that? The youth is bucking like that?
They have no sense of belongingness. This is my personal opinion. They have no sense of belongingness. They don't feel like they matter. There's this darkness that's sitting inside of them, and there's trauma there, and they don't know what to do with it. They don't know how to process their anger. When we went to school, if someone made you mad and you had an issue with them, there was a fight, and then everybody went home. That's not the case anymore. If someone does something to you or says something that you don't like, there's no longer a fight. There's gunplay that's involved. We have young people now who they're shooting in broad daylight. It's no longer at nightfall you start hearing the gunplay. It's all day long now. They're going past houses and shooting up houses that have babies in them now. And there's just something in the mindset that I think that we as adults and as parents and grandparents, we have to get to the root of it, because I
think I got something I can
suggest.
When you took us down the journey of back when we was in school, you get a beef with somebody, you get into a beef, you fought, and it's over.
That's right.
Okay. You said it's deeply rooted in the mindset of these people who shooting nowadays, right?
Yeah.
Now that ass whooping now comes with promotion, TV show, and everything. We call it social media.
Yep.
You're not going to just take an ass whooping and leave.
Right.
Okay. So
right.
You coming back with your gun.
Right.
And somebody recorded the fight, or your ass getting whooped. Okay?
Right.
Or even sometimes there's no coming back. You see the cameras there. You've taken the licking, so you're going to start shooting after the ass whooping, or you see the cameras there. I'm not even going to take this ass whooping. shooting.
Right.
That is a real issue. Do you think that's a real issue?
It's a very real issue, but it's even more so. We now live in this hypersensitive time now where people are living their lives based off of social media. They want the likes. They're more concerned with the likes and fanfare. And then they're not even thinking about the outcome of what comes after the end of there. The one thing I'll tell you that troubles me the most is when they show our kids fighting in these videos, and then we have adults in our age group sharing these videos all over social media. These are our babies, and we're sharing these videos like this is okay. This is not okay.
Entertainment.
It's not okay. And it's entertainment until the gunfire starts. And then next thing you know, there's a GoFundMe up because now we got to bury somebody's kid. Like at some point, we have to take ownership and responsibility as to the behaviors that are going on with our kids. And when I say our kids, I'm not just talking about because maybe I birthed it or you birthed them. These are our kids. And we always want to say it's going to take a village. When we were younger, if we got in trouble,
my mama would say something.
Man, listen.
You better say it.
Miss Smith, Melma, Aunt Maggie, everybody on Kelly Avenue, you was getting your butt whooped by somebody. You were not, they weren't standing for that foolishness. Our parents and grandparents can't do that with this Generation Z that we have out here now. Parents are scared of their kids. They don't want to say nothing to them. Mamas and daddies are tired. They're tired. And you know what? The sad part about it, as a parent of a child that's in prison, thank God he don't like guns. Unfortunately, he likes drugs. And there's a difference. The drugs and the guns, they all go hand in hand. But it's the only time parents get peace at night is when their kids are in jail. And that's sad. That's sad. It's like you know where your kid is. You're not waiting on that phone call because your kid out here in the world doing whatever. And that was always my fear. I always feared somebody was gonna call me and tell me they found my son somewhere, either committed suicide because of his mental health or because he overdosed somewhere. That's the same feeling that these parents of these kids who are out here in the world with these guns. Right. You hear those sirens, you hear those gunshots, and you know what kind of child you got out here doing stuff that you're afraid to say anything to, but you're waiting for the knock on the door.
So what do you think about round table discussions and stuff like that? Talks are great.
I'm past that.
Talks are great.
Yeah.
That's why you're here today.
Right.
You're reaching out to the community, Akron, Ohio, that is.
I love it.
You're reaching out to the community to say, hey, you want to partner with people who's willing to do something instead of talk about it. Right?
Right.
How can I get in touch with you?
Right. So I'm very active on social media, but I'm sure there's a billboard somewhere in the city with my phone number on there. Or they can email me at council, 330-212-9118, Ward 5, the number 5 at akronohio.gov. But you're right. Conversation is good, but what happens after the conversation? What happens after the round table? If there's no action, and all you're going to do is a press release about the round table discussion, what does that mean? You didn't do anything. And so you talked about it, you wrote a press release about you talking about it, but there has to be some kind of funding source that follows that. You know, are we going to talk about getting guns off the street? What are we going to do to get the guns off the street? They're not just going to freely go off the street. Like when we proposed the gun buyback, and you know, we had certain hospitals only willing to give $5,000 here, $5,000 here, but when you have to shoot a gun victim in your trauma unit, you talk about $30,000, $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 for that one person, but you only want to give $5,000 to combat gun violence? Like those, see, you already know. Yeah, but we got to fix that narrative. And the one thing that pains me most is we get in these elected seats in this elected capacity, and I have to include myself in that capacity because I'm one of those elected officials. I just happen to be one that's from the neighborhood, and I get it. If you're not going to reach out to those who have been incarcerated, know these streets, know these young people will listen to them. If you're not, as a community and as an elected official, going to reach out to them and saying, hey, we need you in this. They're not listening to their parents. They're damn sure not listening to us. They're not going to, man, they ain't trying to listen to us elected officials. Half of them think we should be out of office because they don't understand the process of how things downtown go. You know, if you're not in the majority, you're in the minority. And if you're in the minority, you're not passing nothing down there. I don't care how much you want to do for your neighborhood. If you can't get the majority of the votes to support it, you know what? It's dead in the water. But that's a whole nother subject. But if you don't reach out to those who've actually been incarcerated, who understand these streets, what are we doing here?
Well, you speaking today. Listen, y'all get in contact with her. She want to work with you, not talk with you. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So listen, before we get out of here, you already know what's the reason for the season and everything. Tell somebody in short why it's important for people to vote this time around, and how does gun violence connect to your vote?
Right. Well, first let's start with the gun violence. It connects to our vote because it's the only way we're going to change anything. When I hear people say they should get rid of elected officials because we're not doing anything about gun violence, but that's not local. We're talking about state. We're talking about federal. So if you're not electing people to sit in these seats that are actually going to address it and pass laws to curb gun violence and these automatic weapons coming in and out of these states, not just here, this is what you get when you don't show up. And people who say they don't like to vote, they don't want to vote, guess what? That stimulus check you got it because of a vote. You got it because of elected officials sitting in D.C. who worked on a plan, which I still think was crap. Hallelujah for those who got $1,200, but there's people who got millions, and we got crumbs. Whole nother conversation we'll have.
I didn't get anything.
You and 34 million other people, and I keep getting those calls. But this is what I'm saying. This only happens when you put people in office who care about people. Some of these people start off with good intentions, and it becomes about you love the people, you're gonna fight for the people, then it becomes about the power. And once they get jaded by that power, you've lost them.
So when is the voting day? Time, how are we voting?
November 3rd is election day. It's probably going to be the third biggest election that we will experience in history. We've had the Voting Rights Act, civil rights, and the get rid of Trump vote.
You said his name.
Hey,
Nobody confused that.
hey, get rid of Trump by any means necessary. Get him out of there.
Well, listen, man. Thank you for coming down here.
Absolutely.
And we're going to see you next month.
Absolutely.
Have some fun to get something done.